The lie is one we have been conditioned to accept for generations, that our value as human beings can be accurately measured on a spreadsheet, that our net worth is the ultimate arbiter of our self-worth. It is a dangerous and seductive equation that keeps us in a perpetual state of striving, comparing, and ultimately incinerating our own potential. But what if the single most liberating, powerful, and genuinely wealthy decision you could make is to set that entire scorecard on fire? Today, I'm sharing the critical mindset shifts that dismantled this trap in my own life, allowing me to measure my success by what truly matters. And I promise you, it has less to do with the currency in your bank and everything to do with the currency of your life: purpose, growth, and connection. The great lie we've all been sold. Let's be clear, this is not a personal failing. The architecture of our society is built on this deception. From a young age, we are inundated with messages that inextricably link success with financial accumulation. We see it reflected in media, glamorized on social platforms, and sometimes reinforced in our own families. This pressure is often amplified for women who navigate systemic obstacles like the gender pay gap and a historical exclusion from financial power. It is no surprise that so many of us internalize the belief that hitting a specific income is a prerequisite for worthiness. For me, this manifested as a full devotion to hustle culture. I wore 14-hour workdays as a badge of honor, convinced that if I just worked harder, closed the next deal, or hit the next revenue target, the ambient anxiety would finally cease. But the validation never came. The finish line was a mirage, perpetually receding. Research confirms this is a documented psychological phenomenon. When people anchor their self-worth to financial success, they become exponentially more vulnerable to anxiety, stress, and shame. In fact, a 2025 survey indicated that 65% of women identify personal finances as a primary source of stress and anxiety. Another report highlighted that this financial stress is a direct cause of sleep disruption and fatigue for a significant number of women. We are literally making ourselves sick in pursuit of a definition of success that was never engineered for our fulfillment. It is a rigged game, and the only strategic move is to refuse to play. The wake-up call. My breaking point didn't arrive in a dramatic explosion, but on a completely ordinary Tuesday afternoon. I was in my car after a client meeting that, by all external metrics, was a monumental win. I had just secured a deal I had been pursuing for months, but I felt no joy. No elation, only a profound, hollow emptiness and a bone-deep exhaustion. I was so fixated on the hustle that I had lost the protagonist of my own story. I wasn't celebrating the achievement. I was merely relieved the chase was over. That was the catalyst, my wake-up call. I realized the relentless pursuit of more was not delivering happiness or a sense of value. It was engineering anxiety and disconnection from my own life. I had become a human doing instead of a human being. In that moment, I made a decision. I was done outsourcing my self-esteem to my bank account. I was done allowing my career to be the sole determinant of my value. It was time to architect a new scorecard, one that I owned, and one based on a radically different definition of wealth. This is where the real work and the real magic began. Breaking free from this paradigm isn't about demonizing money. It is about fundamentally recalibrating your relationship with it and defining what a rich life means to you. This requires a series of deliberate mindset shifts. Shift 1. Your worth is intrinsic, not earned. This is the foundational principle. You must internalize this non-negotiable truth. Your worth is inherent. It is not a bonus you receive with a paycheck, a promotion, or a follower count. You are valuable simply because you exist. As wealth consciousness specialist Rosalind Perez states, financial success is meant to be a byproduct of our intrinsic worth, not the proof of it. This sounds simple, but it is the most difficult belief to embody. Begin by actively challenging your limiting thoughts. When the inner critic declares, "I'm not enough," counter it with, "I am valuable and worthy, independent of my income." This isn't delusion. It is the strategic deprogramming of decades of social conditioning. Shift 2. Redefine your rich life dashboard. If the old scorecard was your net worth, the new one is your rich life dashboard. What makes you feel truly alive, expansive, and fulfilled? The answers become your new metrics. Your dashboard categories are your own: personal growth, meaningful connections, physical and mental well-being, creativity. This is about prioritizing a life of purpose and ease over a life of stress and striving, a philosophy at the core of the soft living movement, which champions well-being over burnout. One writer, Isabel Drury, found profound wealth not in financial gain, but in the richness of learning about nature and painting, free from the need for external validation. What would be on your dashboard? Perhaps it's tracking the number of books you read, the depth of your conversations, or the frequency with which you grant yourself permission to truly rest. Shift 3. Move from scarcity to opportunity. A mindset tethered to financials operates from a default of scarcity, an obsessive focus on what you lack. The antidote is to consciously engineer a perspective of abundance and opportunity. A powerful example is Megan Driscoll, a company founder who was once consumed by financial fear. She made a strategic choice to view the world through a lens of opportunity. That singular shift freed her mental bandwidth to focus on what was genuinely fulfilling, both personally and financially. A tactical way to initiate this is with a gratitude practice, but with a twist. Don't just list things. Focus on non-financial abundance, the friend who provides unwavering support, the feeling of sun on your skin, the quiet satisfaction of a well-ordered space. This trains your brain to recognize the wealth that already surrounds you. Shift 4. Celebrate the real wins. The paradigm of hustle culture dictates that only monumental financial victories are worthy of celebration. We are here to shatter that paradigm. Did you enforce a boundary and say no to an energy-draining commitment? That is a massive win. Did you finally finish that book that's been on your nightstand for months? A win. Did you choose restorative rest over pushing through exhaustion? A profound victory for your well-being. Writer Danielle Colley, after experiencing burnout, redefined her success metrics to include having time for therapy and being emotionally present with her children. Acknowledging and celebrating these non-financial achievements is a critical reinforcement of your new value system. It proves to you that a life built on purpose and well-being is not only possible, but deeply rewarding. Shift 5. Face the numbers, but don't let them define you. Let's be unequivocally clear. This is not a manifesto for financial irresponsibility. It's a strategy for financial empowerment. True power is derived from facing the numbers without allowing them to define your identity. Consider the story of Leah, who was so paralyzed by financial shame that she avoided her accounts entirely. Her turning point was the decision to seize control. She created a budget, architected a debt repayment plan, and built her savings. The astonishing result? Taking command of her money didn't make her feel more defined by it. It liberated her. Her self-worth expanded because she was no longer operating from a place of fear. The goal is to reframe money as a tool, a resource you manage to build the life you truly desire. It is a component of your life, but it is not the measure of your life. Integrating these shifts is not a one-time event. It's an ongoing practice. It begins with radical awareness. Notice the moments you tie your emotional state to your financial statements. Interrogate the impulse to compare your journey to someone else's curated highlight reel. Set ambitious goals that have nothing to do with money, like mastering a new skill or nurturing a vital relationship. And above all, practice strategic self-compassion. You have to unlearn the fallacy that your happiness is contingent on an outdated, societal construct of success, and instead, architect a life that genuinely feels good to live. This journey is difficult in isolation. Discuss these ideas with your friends. Seek support from therapists or coaches. Building a community of women on the same trajectory is one of the most powerful catalysts for change. You're not just changing your mind, you're helping to shift the entire paradigm of what it means to be a successful, worthy woman. For years, I outsourced my identity to a number in a bank account. I pursued external validation at the direct expense of my well-being, only to arrive at burnout and emptiness. Liberation began with one powerful realization. My worth was never up for debate. It is intrinsic and non-negotiable. By redefining my rich life dashboard, shifting from a mindset of scarcity to one of opportunity, celebrating the wins that truly matter, and facing my finances with empowerment instead of fear, I have built a life that feels genuinely wealthy. Your worth is not on a balance sheet. It's in your capacity for growth, your kindness, your resilience, your creativity, and your purpose. You are enough. Right now, in this moment, exactly as you are. Let's continue this conversation in the comments. What is one non-financial win you are proud of this week? I will be reading and replying to every single one. And don't forget to subscribe for our ongoing exploration into building a life of authentic, multidimensional wealth. I'll see you in the next one.